Hey guys, what's up? It's JR Cuber. In this video I have another unboxing from thecubicle.com. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Alright, so we got 3 items in here, the MGC2 Elite, the MGC 4x4, and this YJ Pocket Timer. I'm going to be doing a separate video on this one, so look out for that coming soon. But for now, let's just talk about both of these puzzles. We'll start with the 2x2. Alright, looks like we get 2 extra spring sets, some magnets, screwdriver, pretty standard stuff. Alright, here's the puzzle. I like that logo quite a bit actually. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, this turns pretty great out of the box. One thing I'm noticing is that it feels kind of heavy. The weight seems a little higher than usual, and the turns themselves just feel like they've got more weight to them. Overall though, the turning is really smooth. It has a very muted sound as well. As you can see, just looking by turning 45 degrees, there's all of these curved ridges around the pieces, which I'm sure is to reduce friction. I wouldn't say the cube is terribly fast. It's decently fast, but I think it's quite controllable. Corner cutting seems to also be pretty good. Yeah, it's cutting pretty easily at 45 and even past. Like nothing seems to be locking up that much. Everything seems to be pretty smooth. Yeah, it feels nice. Overall, this is just fine. Nothing is particularly standing out to me as being that fantastic about this 2x2, but it's good. I think it's a solid addition to the MGC lineup. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the 4x4. This one I'm definitely a lot more excited about because the MGC 5x5 and 6x6 are both really great. So I'm thinking this one will be also pretty good, hopefully. So you get the exact same accessories, 2 extra sets of springs, magnets, screwdriver, same deal. This one seems to match the outer feeling of the MGC 5 and 6 very well. Or in the words of the great Jonas Neubauer,
there's a caress factor here that I didn't count on, but I'm actually really excited about.
Okay, now is...
Wait, Jesse, please in your next unboxing though use caress factor. Like...
I'm absolutely going to use
caress factor.
That is the best new term I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's do some turning. This is actually turning really, really well. I'm liking this. Definitely very dry out of the box. It's quite sandy. I really like that feel, although I'm sure it'll go away soon. The main thing I'm getting from this cube is that it's super controllable. It's definitely quite speedy. It's quite quick, but I feel in complete control of the cube the whole time. The middle layers are really, really nice too. They feel awesome. It also feels just a tad bit smaller than your normal 4x4. I actually like the size. Like normally I go for bigger 4x4s, but I don't know, I don't mind this at all. But yeah, my alg executions are really solid. I'm not really locking up on the cube, just doing turns. But yeah, overall, this seems like a great cube. I'm not sure if it'll stack up to how good the MGC 5 and 6 are. I really like those cubes. They're my mains for both 5x5 and 6x6 at this point. The MGC 5 has beaten over the Volk for me. I love that cube. However, I don't see this 4x4 becoming my main, although it is really good. So this puzzle costs $20. It's a little bit higher than what I was honestly thinking it was going to cost, just because the MGC 5 is only $22. I would expect this to have been more in like the $15 range or so. Still not a terrible price though. This cube seems pretty great. And I think for $20, this is a pretty good value. All right, I'm gonna test this out some more and then I will come back and give you guys my final thoughts. So I've had a chance to test both of these cubes and I'm mostly gonna focus on the 4x4 here. The 2x2 is pretty much fine. There's really nothing too bad about it. I personally quite like the heavier feel of it. The layers just have more weight to them than usual, and I think it just provides a nice feel. This is apparently the first 2x2 to have a center edge magnetic system, which just means that there are magnets within the internal edges of the cube. I'm almost positive that's where the extra weight is coming from. However, this cube costs just as much as the 4x4, $20, which I think is pretty steep for a 2x2, especially one as not special as this one. It's a perfectly fine puzzle, but there are plenty of other way cheaper 2x2s out there that are pretty much just as good or better. I'm definitely not much of a 2x2 solver, so there definitely may be a quality of this cube that I'm overlooking simply because of my inexperience with the event. but I think for most people, spending $20 on a 2x2 is just not really necessary. All right, let's talk about the 4x4. The size of this cube is a bit smaller than a normal size 4x4 like the Aosu GTS2, but also not quite as small as the WRM 4x4. This medium size really hits the sweet spot for me. I really like it. Another great thing about this cube is that it's really controllable without being too sluggish. Turns are really easy to make, but it's still really hard to overshoot. As for the feel, even after break-in, the cube still retains a really sandy, smooth feel, specifically in the outer layers. The inner layers also have a similar feel, but are more crunchy. Slice turns are really fluid as well, which is definitely due to the corner cutting, which is really forgiving, even to a fault. It's actually pretty easy to pop this cube just by corner cutting too far, so you do need pretty accurate turning with this cube to avoid pops. I've only gotten a couple pops so far, but I've heard that for some people, this cube just won't stop popping even after they tighten it quite a bit, so it's definitely something to be aware of. I personally have only popped the cube after a huge misalignment, which is always my fault, so it hasn't really been a huge issue, but just be aware that this cube has a tendency to pop more than a lot of other recent 4x4s. If you're an accurate turner though, shouldn't be too big of a problem. Overall, my favorite thing about this cube is just how usable it is out of the box. A lot of 4x4s require some crazy loop setups paired with a lot of break-in time to really be great, but this cube is already pretty great out of the box. If you want, you can just throw in a couple drops of whatever lube you want to get rid of the dryness, and you're good to go. So for $20, this is definitely a pretty nice mid-range option for anyone wanting a cube that doesn't require a lot of break-in or setup time. All right, guys, that is the YJ MGC 4x4. I'll of course leave links to this puzzle and the MGC2 Elite 2x2 in the description down below. Thanks, of course, to Cubicle for sending me these cubes for free to review. If you guys want to support the channel, you can like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and use code JRCuber at thecubicle.com for a 5% discount. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.